Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our Plant of the Week podcast, brought to you by Bonide Products, family made in America. Visit Bonide.com to find a retailer near you. Each week, Plant Talk Radio's Fred Hauer focuses on a plant that would be a great addition to your landscape. Now for this week's Bonide Products Plant of the Week. And it's time now for Fred's Plant of the Week, brought to you by Bonide.
All right. I'm not sure that I have ever honored, and truly so, the sugar maple. Now, I start with that because the buds are opening, but certainly no leaves yet. However, the tree has been in function for the last 2 months, here, there, and the next place. Everybody and everything that has a sugar bush around it has been pumped, not dry, but pumped, if you will. The pumping comes from the inside of the tree, but on the frozen nights and then the bright, clear days like the last few, they get sugar. I don't think that they're going to get much more as the temperatures are coming up now, but it's a tree that we start to honor at this point in time, not for its beauty, but for its utility. Then we go into the summer in a very stately tree. They're about egg-shaped, if you will. They are usually a little broader at the lower level than they are at the top, sometimes quite nicely rounded, sometimes with age. As trees do, they break up a little bit and become a more open crown. But truly a beautiful tree during the summer and just the sense of a tree. Then comes fall, and they're like a bonfire. Sugar maples are that is the natural and native types, are anywhere from a bright gold into a duller yellow, into an orange that's usually just about like the flame in a fire, and then almost into, on occasion, some burgundy. What a display they make. So without waiting for the fall color, which we hope is a long ways off at this point, we're going to give that tree our blessing for the tree of the week at this point. One of the things I guess I would recommend is you look around the neighborhood where you live, and if you don't find any sugar maples, it's maybe best, because of soil conditions, temperature, weather, rise, and so on, maybe best that you don't plant a sugar maple. But that would be a rare spot. Otherwise, they are a tree that enjoys more the east slope of a hill or rise more than the west, because they don't like the hot sun beating down on the root zone and so on. I would indeed encourage, because of one very significant experience, I would encourage a wide bed of mulch under the tree. A gentleman here in town planted an avenue, literally an avenue of sugar maples, with every expectation of living until they crossed over the top of the roadway.
Yeah.
All right. Many were hitting that point. Many were not. And a couple had died. Very, very great disappointment. No uniformity, etc. I was out of ideas of what happened or what was happening. So I begged, borrowed, stole, and fed lunch to an Ohio State professor in plant pathology. We went out to the site and we drove down the avenue, if you will, pulled off on the grass. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, stopping so we can take a look at the trees." I said, "I just did." "Yeah, but I wanted you to take a close look." "I just did." I said, "Well, now, wait a minute. I'm not going to determine this on what I paid for lunch, but what are you telling me?" He said, "Well, it's real simple. The people that mow this area are using tractors with a belly mower. They have individual wheel brakes. What they're doing is with whichever wheel, they run it just inside the bed of mulch and clamp down on the brake. So it's dragging that wheel through the mulch around the entire perimeter of this tree's bed. The other wheel is freewheeling and doesn't cause any problem." He said, "All you have to do is tell the gentleman to widen the beds clear to the drip line," which is pretty significant, but clear to the bed line, get those so-and-so tractors off of there, even if you have to hand mow the first few feet beyond the mulch, and the trees will be fine. I think he lived until a few of the trees were arched over. I have since looked down the avenue, and lo and behold, with no other function than to broaden out and take care of the mulched bed. Only 2 inches deep, not excessive, etc., and only a couple of trees that were in too much water coming across the road through the fields and so on was there a problem. So it's a tree that appreciates a little bit of gentle care, but at the same time not demanding. And then in terms of the beauty of the tree, there are, now a number of new cultivars. They either select them for their shape or their overall size or the brilliance of their fall colors and so on. So you can have a heyday on your property with one. You can put one on every home on the street, or you can look around and, since nobody else has many of them, plant one and have that brilliant bonfire in the fall all to yourself. Whatever you choose, it's a wonderful tree to have.
We had 2 very large ones in our front yard when I was a kid, and they were absolutely magnificent, especially, as you mentioned, in the fall.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you tap them?
No.
Okay.
No.
Many people don't, and it's always optional. Many people use it as an income factor. And as income goes, when you go to buy pure maple syrup and you think, holy smokes, that's high priced, you be one of the guys carrying the buckets to the steam tray to get it boiled down, and you're going to know why it's expensive.
Thanks again for listening to our podcast, brought to you by Bonide Products at Bonide.com. Plant Talk Radio offers other podcasts as well, including our daily Your Gardening Question podcast and our weekly Plant Talk Radio, all available on iTunes or your preferred podcast player. If you have a plant suggestion for Fred, send him an email, fred@planttalkradio.com.